Bum, 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 bum. The title says, I used to take baths all the time at my parents' home while living in my parents' home. Epsom salt, relaxing Epsom salt, plus Suits. That's the television show Suits with Mike Ross. I might watch an episode or two. Other shows I might enjoy are House and The Wire and Game of Thrones. I don't really recall which show I watched while in the bathtub. So basically, the way this worked is, well, growing up, we had a we had two bathrooms, two and a half baths. The two upstairs bathrooms had bathtubs and showers. The downstairs bathroom just had a toilet and a sink. Of course, the upstairs bathrooms also had sinks. Then, sometime during high school, my parents decided to remodel the middle bathroom, and it became the nicest room in the house, I guess, where we had a triple body shower, a triple head body shower plus an overhead shower, and it had a little temperature gauge, sliding doors, a seat, had marble, all the walls were tile, and it was a nice looking bathroom. And they just need a better toilet because often that toilet just keeps running. What happened was, I guess the standard, they went from like 2 gallon toilets to like a gallon and a half or something. So it doesn't have as much force when, flushing. So I guess something mechanically changed to accommodate. And what happens is often you flush it and it like trickles. It never fully shuts off. So my parents opted to do the middle bathroom, but not their bathroom. Their bathroom is falling apart. Their shower has mold and mildew. It's been like that forever. And I say to them, like, why don't you just use the middle bathroom? You have a clean, you have a clean middle bathroom, but they still use this shower, and I don't understand. Um, but they also have a jacuzzi in their bathroom, and that's fine. That's in good condition, partly because no one really used it for the longest time. And starting in my mid 20s or something, um, probably earlier than that, I used it as like a hamstring recuperation thing. So I've always had incredibly tight hamstrings. I've pulled my hamstrings multiple times, and I've used the bathtub as an opportunity to soak the hamstrings and also to have the jets, have their massaging feature, somehow improve circulation. And, I guess the thought was it was somehow going to make me more flexible or something. And so I would frequently take baths, and the frequency of those baths increased, I guess, around my mid 20s. And it was often that I would be in a bath. So my father would go to work at like 10 in the morning. He'd leave the home around like 9:45, and he'd come back around like 10, 11 at night. And it was often that I was in the bath when he came home. So I have the door shut, and I tell him, don't come in, I'm in the shower or I'm in the bathtub. And he's changing from his work clothes to his, home clothes. And I'm maybe watching, I got my, this was, I guess this was around 2015 because I had a 2015 MacBook Pro that I would use to watch shows. And I probably went in, the jacuzzi prior to that. Anyway, all this is because I'm interested in putting a new bathtub in my home. So my current shower situation, I have a skylight in my bathroom. I never liked that because not just so much privacy, but I have arachnophobia, and that's an entry point for insects. And there have been on multiple occasions spiders. The first time I called an exterminator was because there was a spider in the shower, and that's an entry point. And I forget who I used, but after I used them, I signed like a service contract with them. And then I called them and I said, I got a spider in the shower. And they're like, what do you want us to do about it? Well, come here and kill it. We're not coming out for one little spider. So then a few days later, EcoShield came door to door and I signed a service contract with them. So I had two companies servicing my home for pest control. And eventually I would drop EcoShield because I told them, spiders were still getting into the home. And I typed in, later on, I would type in arachnophobia pest control. And I saw that Orkin advertises, let's see if I can, I hope no spiders populate, arachnophobia pest control. Let's hope no spiders show up. And let's type in Orkin. Because on Orkin's website, they advertise arachnophobia, arachnophobes rejoice, help is on the way. So they marketed it towards arachnophobia. And honestly, I've had more spiders in my home with them than any other service or without service. So I really don't feel that this does anything. And what I asked these companies to do, I said, when you go to like the butterfly exhibit, like the Bronx Zoo or something, or a Disney World or something, and they have those doors that have the fans blowing down to prevent the butterflies from getting out. Can you have something like that where all my entry points are sealed up, where no insects are coming in? And basically they said no agency has anything like that. But so my bathroom has always had that. It was always something I was considered even when purchasing the home. I said, gee, they got this skylight. However, the home had the high ceilings in what I call the cathedral room. The backyard was a decent size. The outside of the home to me looks, aesthetically pleasing. The interior of the home was spacious, but I always felt needed renovating. And so I jumped on the opportunity to get this home because there were several other homes that I was interested in that quickly went off the market. It was my understanding, like when you're buying a home, that these homes take a while to go to closing. So there was a home in West Babylon. I think it's on 9 Neptune Drive or something. It's a ranch with a basement. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for a ranch with a basement. And it was like 1950s construction, but it was recently renovated. And I was very interested in that home. Went off the market. There are a couple other homes that, I looked at on, Zillow or apartments.com, or not apartments.com, whatever other, home buying site. And they got off they were off the market. I would send my mother an email like, I'm interested in this home. And like they were taken off the market within a few weeks of me sending that message. And then there was a house in Shirley. So I looked at 2 homes in Shirley. One was very like skinny. I don't understand this. Like the depth of the home was very shallow, where each room was maybe like, let's say it's about 20 feet deep. And to me, that's, like, maybe that's, normal. It seemed like a skinny home. There's one home on Edgewood, heading down towards Woodycrest. It's kind of in this style. And it's like, it's tall. It's 2 stories, but it's not very deep where yeah, I'll figure out a way to describe it, or maybe I'll just show a picture. But then there was another home, 2016 construction. This was a home that had high ceilings, nice kitchen, decent layout. The upstairs bedroom had like a panoramic window. So and they similar Similar upstairs to what I have now, except the ceilings aren't vaulted. And there was one bedroom that they use as like a nursery that was very small. And it's similar to what I have up here. Um, but then the other thing was the backyard was smaller, which, it's not the biggest issue, you know, but it looked like there's a big shrub, a big tree in the backyard that kind of looks like a spider crawling over the fence. So it's kind of good maybe that, they didn't accept, they accepted another bid. And I thought it might be interesting to have access to the beach. I could potentially go to the beach and walk with Shelby. Um, but so when I saw this home, I didn't want it to get away. I said, let's get an offer in right away, and and they accepted, and I moved in. So so the problem with the bathroom is, well, it has a bathtub, which I'm led to believe that you need a bathtub in order to sell the home because for handicap accessibility. Well, I have arachnophobia, and I want a half shower. So what I want is a walk-in shower with half a sheet of glass as the door to prevent, all the water from spraying all over the place. That way it's easier to get out where you're not going to trip over the tub or something. And could that be considered handicap accessible? Like, is the bathtub an impediment to my to, safety when going in and out of the shower? It's a fall risk. And if you need a bathtub, there are inflatable tubs. And the other option is potentially putting a jacuzzi or putting a bathtub in another room. So there's the upstairs. I don't know if it can accommodate a bathroom. And the reason why I'm wondering that is because, first of all, I had the roof collapse in one of the bedrooms. A pipe burst, and we asked them, and they said, it could be the wind, cooling the crawl space. I don't know why this home really has a crawl space. I think it would be more efficient use of the space if that was just more space in the bedrooms and stuff. Um, I'm not going to store anything in the crawl space, and I guess maybe to just maintain those pipes and stuff. But what was I going to say? So the roof collapsed, and also I had someone come up here and quote for like hardwood floors. Now I don't know how I feel about putting hardwood floors in a bedroom, but they said I wouldn't be able to put hardwood floors in the upstairs anyway because it would require new construction. So I don't know if structurally can it support, you know, a bathroom, which I would assume would be heavier on the support beams, you know, and if I want to put a bathtub up here, can I? I've had some crazy ideas of putting a bathtub in this master bedroom upstairs where I have a projector and I could just tuck a little hot tub in the corner and just kind of make this a relaxing room and stuff. Um, so I have specific soap. If you see the soap sitting on the soap dish that's against the wall, um, That's used for the buttocks. Yeah. So that's the only body part it's used for. And once I'm done washing that area, I take the gloves off. I wash my hands with another antibacterial soap. It's Dial antibacterial soap we use for these areas. And then I use the shower head on its, massage setting to, wash the anus. And so, but so the shower head is broken a few times. I've attempted to take one bath or maybe two baths in this bathtub. The hot water doesn't fill the bath to its maximum, height. But if you take a long shower, if you take like a 20-minute shower, it has enough hot water for that. So I don't know why the bathtub doesn't fill to hot water, but the shower can last for that long. Um, Maybe it's just bad luck. Maybe I was running out of, oil or something. Um, but there's also an issue with the bathtub draining. So like when I clean it, I clean with bleach. I also clean with hydrogen peroxide. So most of the time I just spray with hydrogen peroxide. It's a rescue solution. There's also um, Virex, which I use, which is hydrogen peroxide. It gets confusing because there's a Virex that's part of Diversey, but Virex is like it's like a ammonia chloride type treatment, dialkyl chloride or something. And then there's um, then there's Rescue, which is a hydrogen peroxide solution, which the oxygen binds to anaerobic bacteria and kills it that way. The bleach I use on occasion, where I will spray in between the tiles, and it's just glowing with sanitary with cleanliness. And so right now I just sprayed the bathtub with bleach. The only problem is, since the tub doesn't drain properly, the bleach sits in the middle and it's corrosive to whatever the tile is. And now there's like a rust material in the middle of the bathroom. And my parents remarked on it while I was in prison. They're like, "Did you know that your bathtub has like, it's rusted or something in the middle of the bathtub?" And so I was considering redoing that bathroom. Um, I just heard the bloom. I just got a bathtub drainer. I'm going to attempt to take a bath. And I don't know. I don't really watch too many television shows anymore. I was thinking, like, when I was living in Arvada, in Colorado, and when I was living in Patchogue, I had an apartment in Patchogue. They had a bathtub, and I would sometimes soak in the bathtub. I remember sitting there, and I opened up a Discover card. So I'm in the bathtub, and I'm chatting with an agent, opening up my Discover card from the bathtub, and then when I was living out in Colorado, I would prop up something next to the bathtub, and I would watch some television shows or something while in the bathtub. Um, so when I moved to Fort Collins, it didn't have a bathtub; it only had a shower. And when I moved into my apartment in Ronkonkoma, I might have taken a bath. It doesn't really stick out to me. Um, Partly because that's when we got Carmela, and that's where I kept her cat box. So I can't imagine taking baths with that. It was very. I would use the bathtub to clean out her cat box, and I guess I got to be mindful of that here too, because that's what we use the bathtub here for too. Um, so when I moved in here, I took a bath or two. Um, So there's let's see. Well, that's a koala bear. Let's see. Mar. So I first became introduced to these half showers while staying at Margaritaville. Interestingly enough, the reason why I stayed at this hotel, I was in my apartment in Ronkonkoma and I was experiencing arachnophobia. So I drove into the city with Shelby and checked into a hotel. I did it via hotels.com. I had a hotel's, gift card or something. And while in the hotel, they have all these palm trees and shit. And these triggered more arachnophobia. This is, I actually, if I'm growing up and my parents take me to Margaritaville, I really enjoyed the layout of this hotel. I wish I would have been able to experience the hotel a little bit more, tried some of the amenities. Um, it's, it seems to have a fresh, you know, updated interior, and it's just very bright in there, and it doesn't look like your typical, hotel. I find, going to various hotels, they all have a certain aesthetic, and I thought that this um, was a decent layout. So they have a bathroom. Let's see if we can. I think I just saw it. Why is this? I clicked on this. See how they have. So this is the half shower, and this is what I'm interested in doing. Um, a lot of the hotels now also have the pumps built into the wall. It looks like they have these things just sitting here, but there's companies that have refill things where they're just attached to the walls, and you put in the new, um, little containers, and now you have full soap. So this is a shower setup that I was interested in doing, where it's a half shower, half piece of glass, and but I wouldn't. I told one bathroom guy that I don't want any silver, faucet handles or faucets because it reflects, and if there's a dark spot in it, that might trigger arachnophobia. Is it an escape room? I ask every hotel that I go to. I say, "Where's the nearest escape room?" And they say, "Oh, there's an escape room on Lexington." And actually, there. I was just saying like some random thing. There's a Lexington Road or Lexington in Manhattan, right? Most of it's like numerics, 1 through 60, right? And then 1 through 20. I don't know what the on 56 and seconds. On there's one on 7th and 34th. Madison Square Garden. Right, is that where Madison Square Garden is, on 34th and 7th? There's a Margaritaville hotel, or not hotel, Margaritaville restaurant in City Walk in Orlando on the Universal side of town. And I recall going to one on a cruise once, and they had land sharks. So um, Margaritaville has its own beer. I guess it's a Anheuser-Busch product. The people who make Budweiser, and I think it's their company. And I don't know. I like these restaurants. Um, I sent a text message to Donald Trump. Donald Trump now has a telephone number. If you want to text Donald Trump, here's the phone number. President Donald Trump. I accidentally called it. It looks like um, so it's 45470. I guess that's the number you text. It's not an actual phone number. Joe Biden had a phone number listed on his Twitter account, his X account, when he was president. Um, you might get messages from Donald Trump that say, Trump RX is finally here. Americans will experience lower prescription prices for the first time ever. This new platform has a wide variety of drugs, everything from fertility treatments to even the fat shot. More important than the scope are the incredible savings you'll get. Before you buy your next prescription, check out Trump RX, and then you can tap a little community thing introducing most favored nation pricing, and I click on the link and it says find the world's lowest prices on prescription drugs. So I have a link to some sort of Trump website. It says trumprx.gov. That sounds official because of .gov. But I sent Trump a text message and I said, I was subjected to cruel and unusual punishment and mental torture. I sent you an envelope containing letters sent to the Attorney General of the State of New York, Letitia James. I humbly request an island so I may insulate myself from my abusers. This island will be free from police and any facilities that detain individuals, such as hospitals and prisons. We got the idea from that House Hunter show that has an island version and saw that some islands are sold for relatively cheap. Since I have arachnophobia, I request a northern island. As much as I would love the water in the Gulf of America, I fear that tropical shrubbery and sandy beaches will trigger arachnophobia, so it's best to award an island that has limited trees and other things that resemble spiders or are associated with spiders. I originally proposed a settlement with Letitia James where I would complete my PhD in health law and clinical psychology so I may inform healthcare policy through research. I have 72 graduate credits, and as it turns out, that the amount of credits needed for NYU's health policy PhD. That should read, I have 72 graduate credits, and as it turns out, that is the amount of credits needed for NYU's health policy PhD. I reached out to them in hopes my letters to Letitia could serve as evidence of my passion for the field, as well as credentials that could earn me a seat in their program based on merit. I perhaps foolhardily brought acknowledgement deficiencies in my letter in an email sent to NYU where I felt some of my letters could have been better had certain parts had been omitted and other sections revised. Overall, I was pleased with my writing and was hoping it could serve as my application without having to write further personal statements, which sometimes delay my application due to my emotional attachments to the topics and due to my experience as an undergraduate student where I developed complex prolonged grief and identity crisis. Despite these emotional attachments and personal experiences, I believe my research and work on healthcare policy would be impartial, unbiased, and with the best interests of other people at heart. I will end this message now, but I could say more. So that was written on, a text on my cell phone, so the grammar, it's easier to see, structure of a letter when it's written on like a Word document or handwritten, and But I told the Attorney General of the state of New York that I don't want to be, I'm not, interested in a get rich quick scheme. But if I can't work, you know, as a result of these harms done to me, like if I can't complete my PhD as a result of these harms done to me, then I can't work as a result of these harms done to me. So I asked for my student loan debt to be forgiven, and I asked for further funding for my education. And I basically said, that I tried to think of things that were no cost to the state of New York. So here's a situation where if they waive my student loan debt, that's really like that's not exchanged for a tangible good. They waive student loan debt all the time, and I don't need to file a lawsuit to have my student loan debt forgiven. I thought I would just, I thought I would just include this in this package. And as far as future funding, I went to Best Buy the other day, and he said Best Buy offers free tuition for, online education such as Capella. So something like even in the state of New York, I don't think if I want to, continue my education at a SUNY school, I think I can get that education for free. Now, I don't want to study at a SUNY school. So I proposed like NYU. And because NYU has the health policy program that I'm interested in, and basically I'm in the mindset like once I complete the PhD in health policy and I'm working, in that field doing research on my own time, I might want to study other topics of interest to me. Like in my current state, like if I'm paying for my education, I'm going to pursue my PhD and the income I earn is going to be, to pay down debt. But if I'm awarded, a settlement, I can pursue educational interests, which include satisfying my thirst for knowledge that was unmet during my undergrad. So, like, I might want to revisit chemistry, and I might want to, because, like, my expectations for higher education, when I walk out with my bachelor's in chemistry, I want to be able to synthesize, different drug compounds. I want to be able to engage in drug design, drug discovery, medical device R&D. I want to be able to synthesize materials. I feel I don't have that knowledge. I can go into a laboratory, I can work in HPLC, I can determine an unknown substance, but I don't feel that I can synthesize. I don't know how to create acetaminophen. There are people who watch, Breaking Bad, and they're like, let's do a P2P cook. Well, I'm not going to cook meth, but I would like to be able to understand how to, if that makes any sense. There are cherry leaves that have cyanide in it. I thought, how do I extract cyanide from cherry leaves? And when I was working at Amneal Pharmaceuticals, I told them, like, I want to be able to know the process from the ground up because I want to know how to synthesize these. I was hopeful that I would be able to learn how to synthesize these chemical compounds. Now, Amneal outsources where they don't produce their active ingredient. They buy it from like McKesson or something, and then they just mix in a whole bunch of other things to compress it. Steric acid and lactic acid or whatever, lactate or something. Um, I, didn't you sign a non-compete, a non-disclosure, something? You're a generic pharmaceutical company. What do you got up your sleeve? What do you got patents on? What do you think Amneal's up to? I don't know. They're up to no good. They got research and development and what, generics? After a certain period of time, the company that created the original product now puts their formula in a public record, and you can take the copy and you can make it on your own. Little girl. I have a little girl sleeping next to me. This should make me very happy. I love Shelby more than anyone. I got Carmela here. I love you, Carmela. I love you a great deal. But Shelby is number one. Kohler showers. Revealed by Kohler. Remodel with the Kohler Lux Stone Shower. See, the other issue I have with the shower design, a lot of these, look at these little inserts. They all seem to be prefabricated for this type of space. Like I don't see any, like, even jacuzziremodel.com, bathplanet.com, all these places, they have this little insert for this little template right here. Okay, that would fit, except I have a vaulted ceiling in that bathroom. So it's not going to be flat here. It has it extends to a skylight. So I have a room next to my bathroom that the previous homeowner used as an office space, which I think is listed, they have it listed on Zillow as 3 bedrooms. So I consider the master bedroom to be downstairs. I was thinking of turning into a master suite where I would convert the office space downstairs and make that attached to the master suite where that's a bathroom, where you could go from the master suite into the bathroom. Now, that bedroom downstairs might be a little bit smaller than the room I'm currently in, but not by much. And I don't know. I have a laser tape measure thing. I'll see how big this room is compared to that room. Um, so I thought potentially of having, a bathroom attached to it, but that would mean having 2 bathrooms downstairs back to back. And I guess the thought process is that the plumbing is already partially, you know, going there. Where like it's in the back of my mind that that would be cheaper to extend any type of plumbing to that room downstairs. Whether that means subtracting the other bathroom downstairs and converting that into a closet, or potentially extending the kitchen, knocking down the wall and extending that into the kitchen area, or just having 2 bathrooms downstairs. Um, I guess I don't. I guess that office space is not considered a bedroom. Um, I thought that this home actually was listed as 4 bedrooms, and could potentially have 5 bedrooms. And if I put in another wall, could have 6 bedrooms. Um, why do you need so many bedrooms? There's the floor layout on this home really isn't conducive to an eating area, like having a dining room. And I feel that space, in my parents' home. So they have um, three bedrooms upstairs, and one of them, I guess, was used as a nursery. They have two bathrooms upstairs. Downstairs, they have a living room and a dining room. Then they have a den. They have a kitchen, and they have a half bath. And the living room and dining room, it's just wasted space. It's just, they're just decorative. On rare occasions, we will eat in the living room, we'll eat in the dining room, and on rare occasions, we'll have Christmas in the living room. We might they might not even like there are two living rooms. The den I described, that's a living room as well, and that's where the TV is. Um, but it's just wasted space. It's not really functional. Nobody's just nobody really spends time in those rooms, and the kitchen is where the main dining table is. That's where people eat every night, and we had our seating arrangements where if you're coming in the home at the 12 o'clock position would be my sister's seat. At the 3 o'clock position would be my father's seat. At the 6 o'clock position would be my seat. And at the 9 o'clock position would be my mother's seat. I think. I think that's how we had it. Pretty sure. And but over time, like my mother and I would just eat in the TV room because we were the only two people home. We weren't waiting for my father to come home for dinner. And my mother and I might be watching The Wire or Game of Thrones or something, and we just might eat in the TV room. This would be a great design for that office space because this looks like it would fill up that room. And I was thinking of having the toilet in the shower, but then I was thinking like now you're dealing with poopy water in the shower, so it'd be maybe better to do something like this. Um, I was also thinking of having a urinal. I went to a Hotel 6 Columbus in Manhattan, and it was pet friendly, so it has a living area and it has a bedroom area and it has a bathroom. And I was considering taking a bath, but I felt it wasn't really conducive to arachnophobia. Um, this was around June 26th. I had made my way out to New Jersey, and I split up the trip home because Shelby doesn't like car travel, and I split it up where we stayed in the city, and we went to Central Park, and I had this picture open on my desktop. I'm going through old pictures. The my eyes my eyes used to be squintier, and over the years they've become wider and wider. And I'm trying to figure this out. If I go to my eighth grade picture, my eighth grade graduation picture, like my eyes, this eye's squintier than this eye, and my high school graduation picture is similar, where one eye is squintier than the other eye, but then in my a few years ago, there's this one, and my eyes are fairly wide, and I don't know what has changed that has made my eyes wider. Back to the bathroom remodel. My parents said that they were willing to pump $50,000 into the interior of this home to redo the bathroom and the kitchen. I wonder if I should take them up on that offer. My concern is that somehow they're going to hold me to owe them something. I'm not responsible for anything. The bathroom is basically the condition that I moved into. There's more of that corrosive stuff in the tub. I had priced out, I think, a bathroom to be about $10,000, and I did so using more expensive flooring. It's about $10 per square foot when there are things that I can get like $3 per square foot or something. And what I did is I got like that pebble design. So maybe if I go to Home Depot, so there's stuff like this. Um, we'll sort by price high to low. So these are $30, $16, $14. Do they not have it anymore? How come I can't find this? So it's like this, I guess. I don't really like this one, so don't. Let's see if there's shopping. I guess more like in this type of style, but it was like blue. Mineral tiles. I guess that's what it's called. Mineral tiles. And this is Bed Bath and Beyond. They have it listed like this, and here, I guess it was more like this. It was kind of like this shade down here, but in the style of these of this. It's, putting money into this home is not really a priority to me, um, because I don't want to be in America long term. I'm citing cruel and unusual mental torture. And what does that mean? Well, it could possibly mean that, my expectation is the reaction of other people. Nobody mentally tortured you. Oh, okay. So I'm just, bashing my skull in because because I feel like it, you know. Had my experiences been different, had I just went about my day without having police interact with me and assault me and falsely imprison me and people inject me with ketamine, I would have nothing to be afraid of. Generalized uncertainty theory of stress. All right, I'm going to attempt to take that bath now. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean the tub a bit more. I sprayed it with bleach. Now I'm going to rinse it, and I might put in scrubby bubbles or something.